Hey Switchheads, how's it going? Kanan here, hope you're all well, and welcome to my review of Graviter, which I had to chuckle to myself as this is a gravity-based game and it's brought to us by No Gravity Games. And I really do invite anyone from No Gravity Games to leave a comment down below of maybe a funny story that hopefully goes with this. And so I think it's time for us to find out whether Graviter will reach the Wall of Fame or maybe the Wall of Shame, or maybe somewhere in the middle. Also, don't forget to hit that link below which will take you to our community Discord where you can come for the chat and stay for the streaming. And as usual, if you've enjoyed any of my content, well, you know what to do. Gameplay. And so apart from the fact that Graviter is the only game I think that actually has a button to press that changes the theme of the actual look of the game, Graviter also has a really good tutorial section. I mean, it's only short, but it's actually quite decent at explaining everything. So I'm going to kind of like run that in the background and just go into basics of it. Which is to say that you use different planets' gravities in order to swing your like little tiny planet character around the actual screen. This can be done by moving planets around or enlarging them or shrinking them down for different effects and angles. There are also planets that you can make disappear as well, so that gives different effects. There are also objects that are in your way, and there are also power-ups like speed-ups as well. This all is so that you can try and get hold of these little like cat claw paw things, and you need to do this before you can actually move on to the next level of each stage. Now, sometimes you'll have to move your actual like character and pick up more than one paw, and this is where the actual pause item comes into use. And what this basically does is you can pause at any time. You only have a set amount of pauses that you can use, and when you actually use it, you can change everything around essentially so that you can change the direction or anything like that of your actual ball if you have two of these claws to collect. This does actually sound really complicated, but when you actually play the game, it isn't as complicated as it actually seems at first. As I mentioned before, it does a good job at actually teaching you how to play the game. Every time you complete a level, you will then pick up coins, and then you can use these for getting extras in like kind of a store that they have. So you can buy skips, and you start with 5 skips, and then you can buy more, which essentially means that if you get really stuck, you can buy your way out of it and go on to the next level. You can also buy more pauses, which is useful if you get stuck or kind of like get derailed on an actual level, but you don't actually want to skip it. And then you can buy like cosmetic things like trails and trajectories and things like that. These are actually quite neat addition and gives you something to work towards, as well as just beating the game, of course. There's 4 actual stages, and each of them have different amount of actual levels within those stages. I'm not counting the tutorial though. But there's around 100 actual levels, which is pretty good value for money, and I think you will probably enjoy it if you're into this sort of puzzling game. The controls took me a couple of levels to get into once I got into the actual main game, but in general they worked really well and I had no issues with them. Graphically, they were kind of bright, cute. I like the fact that you can change the actual theme of the game in the actual starting menu part, and I think the graphics are kind of like those sort of graphics that they do what you need them to do. As for the sound, it wasn't too bad. The music was very soothing. I mean, you could probably fall asleep to this music. I quite enjoyed it. And kind of all the other sounds were, they were just gentle little noises, nothing too big, nothing too hard. You know, it was probably what you'd also expect from this sort of game. The good. Well, it's got a very wide selection of actual levels and stages from the beginner, me, right up to the hardcore player of this sort of genre. And it's definitely a challenge and quite good fun. The bad. I think with so many levels, it could have maybe a tendency to get a bit samey as you get really far into it. The score. You know, for me, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. There is a lot of game here, 100 levels. Yeah, it might get a bit repetitive, but that's why you can just change between stages and you're not just stuck with the same one. and you can try different challenges out. And as for my alternative, I'm going to suggest Orbit XL, spelled ORBT XL, of course. And it's another kind of gravity kind of game where you have to sort of like stop yourself going into a black hole this time whilst avoiding other planets. And it's quite decent game for its price and well worth a pickup after you're done with Graviter. And if you have any questions or just, any comments, leave them down well in the comments. That's where they belong. And don't forget to hit that link below, which will take you to our community Discord, where you can come for a chat or join in with some of our actual streaming lights that we have. And until then, if you've enjoyed any of my actual content, then you know definitely what to do, because life is better when we switch together.